Elijah called down fire from heaven and defeated 450 prophets of Baal. He prayed, and rain fell after years of drought. This was a man who stood unshaken before kings and nations. Yet, when Queen Jezebel threatened his life, Elijah ran into the wilderness and begged God to let him die. The mighty prophet who confronted false gods crumbled under the weight of fear, loneliness, and exhaustion. But in the cave of despair, God didn't rebuke Elijah. He whispered, not in the wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a gentle whisper. God reminded Elijah that he wasn't alone and that there were still 7,000 who had not bowed to Baal. Friends, do you ever feel like Elijah in the wilderness? Do you feel like you're all alone? Do you feel like giving up? You may be wondering, what does this story mean for me today? Let me share 3 powerful lessons that will help us overcome fear. No. 1. Even the strongest can fall. Verse 14 tells us that Elijah was afraid. He was afraid because he was alone. He was afraid because he was exhausted, and he was afraid of Jezebel. Look at verse 32. It says that Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. Notice the word ran. This is the same Elijah who ran and outran King Ahab. This is the same Elijah who challenged 450 prophets of Baal and made them look like fools. But now he was afraid and running for his life. Friends, it doesn't matter how strong we are, how gifted we are, how talented we are. We will all fall if we try to do things in our own strength. Number 2, when you fall, don't stay down. Notice the posture of Elijah. He did not run to fight. He did not run to confront Jezebel. He ran to escape. And where did he go? He went to a cave. Caves are dark, they're scary, and they're silent. It's a place where you can easily give up, but Elijah didn't stay there. As much as he wanted to give up, as much as he wanted to stay in that cave, he came out of the cave. And that's what we need to do when we fall. We need to get back up. Number 3, listen for God's voice. When Elijah came out of the cave, God didn't speak to him in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire, but in a still small voice. Sometimes when we're struggling, we want God to speak to us in a powerful way, but he often speaks to us in a still small voice. So we must learn to listen. If you hear God's voice, write it down. Take notes. Write down what you hear him say. Don't just listen with your ears, listen with your heart. What do you hear God saying? Write it down and obey. Friends, when was the last time you heard God's voice? When was the last time you felt his presence? If you feel like Elijah today, I have good news for you. God is calling out your name. He wants to remind you that you're not alone. He wants to remind you that you have everything you need to get through this situation. He wants to remind you that he loves you and he's with you every step of the way. So take courage. Don't give up. Don't stay down. Get up and listen for God's voice.